G'day everyone, Elliott here from Access Alarms. I'm just coming at you today to show you a bit of a side-by-side comparison of the difference between a Bosch 3000 system and a 6000 system. For most of your residential applications, even for small commercial, these options, you may be sitting there considering, do I go the 3000 or do I go the 6000? So what are the key differences, or what are you going to notice straight off the bat is looking at the Bosch 3000 is it's a very much a light and buzzer style system, and the 6000 is very much a graphic and intuitive system. So the Bosch 3000, it has lights here. You can see as I open and close a contact switch, so this pretends to be a door. You can see the number 1 comes on there, and it actually close that. The number 1 goes out. Same thing with, as this motion sensor you can see turns blue when I walk in front of it, the number 2 lights up and the number 2 goes out. As opposed to the 6000 system here, if I open that up, it'll actually come up and tell me that the front door is open, and the same thing when I trigger the motion sensor, it now says open motion detector. This one gives you a bit more of a clear indication as to what those numbers are. However, pros and cons of both. This one, as a technician's point of view as well, I can see all the motion detectors at once on the keypad. I can see what's in alarm, what's not. As long as the installer has filled this out, you can typically find out what those numbers relate to. On the keypad here, it only shows you one at a time, which, yes, I know we can go into some programming functions and show what's called an area array. I don't really define that as something that you as the customer is going to do. You will probably see, and you'd likely hope that you've only got one sensor and alarm when you're going to leave the place. You're not going to try and arm it up with everyone in the warehouse and everyone in the office if you're using this for an office application. All right, as far as detection devices go, I've set up a little button here so I can turn it on and off from a button. You can hear that there. I've set this one up to do the same thing. You can push a button and it turns on there. Sometimes the Bosch 3000, when you turn it on, you really have to look, although it does beep at you, but you really have to look to see something has changed, because the only thing that change on the screen when the system's turning on versus turning off is this little on light here in the corner goes on, and the little man's either inside or outside the house, whether you're doing it at home or away. Whereas when you see on the 6000 here, when I arm that up, you can see the whole keypad actually changes to being exit now. And when it does finish its exit time, it comes up and says armed. So it's very clear with a big red LED indicating, hey, the system's turned on. So you don't need to really look too closely when you walk in the house if you haven't got what I've set up here, where you haven't got a detection point on the front door. Okay, using remote controls on the system, as you can see, they physically look identical. They actually have pretty much identical operation. You're not going to notice any difference. So if you hit the lock button, you can see this one turned on fine. Unlock's the same. You can hit this button and open a roller door if you want to. So physically the 3000 is the same thing with the 6000. You can hit the lock button, that turns on, unlock button, turn it off, and hit the remote control and that opens and closes. They are physically the same remote control, so if you're using the system for that type of purpose, they are pretty much identical as far as that stuff goes. Same thing as if you're using a like a phone app or something to arm and disarm the systems. They both have the same capabilities. Okay. In a nutshell, both panels by themselves, as they are, will do 16 zones. That's 16 motion detectors or switches or doors or whatever you want to do. The 6000 though does have the ability to expand from that, so you can keep adding to this to it's like over 140 zones, so you can expand the 6000. I don't see many residential applications where you would need more than 16 zones. It's a pretty big house to require more than 16, but I've seen some with more than 16 zones, but it's probably a handful in my career, in my 20 years. Commercial applications, obviously, when you get to like a big warehouse and office and multiple areas in the office, you are going to need more than 16 zones. So the 6000 does suit sort of your medium and even up to your large level businesses. If you have a trouble condition or you have a problem with the 3000 for whatever reason, the 3000 can be very difficult to navigate for you as the end user. If you notice here, they both have a sort of, when there's a system fault, they both have a triangle with a caution mark with an exclamation in the middle. The 3000, push and hold 5 and it comes up with a sequence of numbers. It tells me the 1, I push the 1 and now it tells me that there's a 1 and an 8. Which I know is basically the panel tamper and a low battery. Your user manual, which is you can either download it online or you get the user manual with the panel, and you can go through and it's got a list of fault conditions here that tell you, 1 is battery fail and 8 is the onboard tamper. So you've got all of those. You've got that in the manual, but again, who carries those manuals with them? Whereas with the Bosch 6000, if you've got a system fault, you can just go into the menu, put your code in, hit OK, go to the menu, go to system and system trouble. Now it tells you in here, basically the battery's missing. It's had a comms fail because it's tried to report and it can't, and the cabinet tampers in alarm. Got no phone line. But you as an end user can read that and know, hang on, the battery's missing, something's wrong with the battery. The telco line fell, yeah. But this is information that you can repeat to us and we can understand. So if you're ringing us up going, hey, my alarm panel says it's got a telco line fault on it. Okay, well, that's easy enough for us to organise, and it helps our techs as well identify what the issue is quickly. The main thing you're going to see on there is if you have wireless detectors on the Bosch 3000. If you have a low battery, the little caution light comes on and a number comes on, and then you've got to go into that number and it tells you what number detector it is, needs new batteries, whereas the Bosch 6000 comes up and says low battery zone 3. It actually tells you, if you had this was a kitchen detector, it'll come up and say low battery kitchen detector. So you know straight away, oh, I should go and replace the battery on the kitchen detector. The Bosch 6000 is a very English displayed, it tells you everything in English, which is far, far superior. It's easy to navigate through, whereas this is a numbers 1 to 8 system, numbers 1 to 8 system. Both are insanely good systems. Out of the hundreds and hundreds of these that we've installed over the course of the many years, and I mean, literally I'd be almost at the thousands, I've probably had to return maybe 5. So quality-wise from these systems, the Bosch systems, the reason why we've used Bosch for so long, the whole time Access Alarms has been around, we've been dealing with Bosch. Out of the hundreds of times we've used these panels, they're just bulletproof. We haven't had any issues. Either 1 out of the thousands we've installed, we've probably had maybe 2 or 3 returns. So they survive Australian climates very, very well. If you have any issues or anything like that, give us a call here, 1300 049 969, or flick us an email, info@accessalarms.com.au. Much appreciated. Chat soon.